What's up, everybody? This is the Anime Mug, and today we're going to be switching it over from the One Punch Man universe over to the My Hero Academia, Boku no Hero Academia, whatever you want to call it, universe. And we're going to be talking about the My Hero Vigilante series first, because this is the series that precedes the main My Hero storyline. So I'm going to be talking a lot about this because I want to go through a lot of the events that leads up to where we are now in the My Hero Academia series, but I want to start from the very beginning. And I think it's only right that we start with Koichi Haimawari. That's the main protagonist of the My Hero Vigilante series, and there's a lot to this character. I don't think I'm going to get to everything in this video because there's so much to him, but I did want to go into his origins and his relationships with a couple other protagonists in the story, that being Pop Step and Knuckleduster. With that said, I want to let everybody know that there will be manga spoilers. So without further ado, let's jump into who is Koichi Haimawari. Koichi Haimawari is the main protagonist of the My Hero Academia illegal series, and he's also a vigilante. He has a quirk that allows him to slide over plane services just as long as he can contact those services in 3 different places. Now, early on in the series, this is all he knew about his quirk, but as the time passed, he was able to use his quirk either in combat or practical heroism scenarios. He's learned that he doesn't really need to touch the ground in order to propel himself forward, and he's actually capable of propelling himself in the air. He can utilize his quirk to allow him to stick to surfaces. He can shoot small repulsion blasts from his palm. So Koichi has a pretty sick quirk if he's able to apply it properly. So you may ask, why isn't he a hero? Well, we'll get into that later. But first, let's talk about how heroes operate in this universe. So if you're unfamiliar with the My Hero Academia world, basically, it's illegal for those with quirks, aka superpowers, to use those powers in public, unless you are actually licensed. Now, those licensed people are the heroes of the series, aka your All Mights, Endeavor, Best Genius, Eraserheads, etc. And those that use those quirks to save people but they're unlicensed are technically committing a crime, and they're considered vigilantes. Now back to Koichi. Now Koichi was actually born with the ability to float, and he was actually able to float before he could walk. But this turned out to be pretty dangerous for him and his family, because him still being pretty young, he would float into really dangerous and harmful areas. So his mom actually conditioned him to not use his quirk. And as he grew up with this mindset of not being able to really use his quirk, it really limited his abilities as he's grown older. And this is where we see him only knowing how to just propel himself forward by touching the ground, when in reality there is so much more to his quirk than just sliding on the ground. So like most kids, he loved superheroes growing up, more specifically the #1 hero, All Might, who everyone loved, and he became a super fan of All Might, sort of like Deku in the series, in the main series. And you see him wearing this All Might hoodie. He has different kinds of All Might hoodies, and there are different editions of it. And seeing these heroes, it really inspired him to become a hero himself. So when Koichi became of age to actually take the Hero High School entrance exam, he jumped at the opportunity. So the morning of the exam, he was on his way, and he actually came across a child drowning. So a good thing to note about Koichi is that he's a really, really good person. And like I said earlier, he idolizes heroes. So that molded him to have this very selfless mentality, as to where he loves to help others. And he's not really a good person with standing up for himself. He lacks in that area, so you see him get bullied quite a bit. But when it comes to others getting bullied, or when it comes to other people in a life-threatening situation, he'll jump at that chance to save them, if he can. So anyways, there's an entire crowd watching this kid die for some reason, but Koichi, he pushes through the crowd and he jumps into the water and he saves this kid. And when he succeeds and he pulls the child out, he gives the kid his All Might hoodie that he was wearing. And then he rushes off to the exam. And unfortunately, he ends up missing his high school entrance exam. So let's skip to present day, and he's actually in college. And though he missed his moment to enter Hero High School, that didn't stop his drive from wanting to assist others. And mind you, it's illegal for those without quirks to apply them in public if they're unlicensed. He likes to cover himself up with his All Might hoodie and a bandana to conceal his identity, and he can actually assist others while using his quirk. But he likes to do small Good Samaritan type deeds, such as helping people cross the street, giving people directions, helping people find their lost phones, getting cats out of trees, etc. So one day Koichi comes across this girl named Popstep, who's known as a freelance idol, and she usually uses her quirk while performing in public, and pretty bad performances, but people are enamored by the way she uses her quirk while performing. Now Koichi knows she's unlicensed, so when he sees her, he gives her a warning that there are cops in the area, just so you know, and if they catch you, you can either be fined or you can go to jail. And this is where us as the readers actually get to see where his relationship with Popstep starts in the series. Not so much in Koichi and Popstep's life. They actually met years earlier, but I'll get into that more so in Popstep's video. So I've mentioned Koichi loves to help people with good deeds and his acts of heroism, and he really gains satisfaction from them. So one day he actually runs into Popstep, and she thanked him for warning her the other day about the cops, and she teases him a little bit because he's still a weakling, and she sees him get bullied and everything like that. And as Popstep leaves, she runs into a guy named Soga. This is Koichi's everyday bully. Like, he loves messing with Koichi. And Soga and his crew are really harassing Popstep, and you can see her getting visibly scared, like tears are coming down her eyes. And Koichi sees this, and him being who he is, he actually tries to stop this, but he fails miserably, and this annoys Soga, so he's about to go after Koichi now. And this is what Koichi wanted, just so he can give Popstep some time to get away, to get the attention on himself. But as Soga's about to go at Koichi, a mysterious guy, he interrupts and he takes out Soga and all of his crew. And this turns out to be a vigilante named Knuckleduster. And this is where Koichi and Knuckleduster's relationship forms. And from here on out, we see the two have this master-pupil type of relationship. And I say master-pupil pretty loosely, but they really do have this relationship where they really do value each other for different things. Like, Knuckleduster values Koichi for his heart. Like, he has a really big heart, and he's so selfish. And Knuckleduster, he takes a liking to that, and he wants to bring Koichi under his wing. And Koichi, on the other hand, he really admires Knuckleduster's combat ability, even though he's very limited. And I'll get more into that with Knuckleduster's video. But Koichi, he knows that he can learn a lot combat-wise from Knuckleduster. So moving on, Koichi, in his personal life, he's a really lonely guy, and he's kind of he's a big-time pushover. And Knuckleduster actually needs a place to stay. I guess it's implied that he's homeless, but he starts living with Koichi, and Koichi, you can tell he has objections, but what is he really gonna do to Knuckleduster? So he just lets it happen, really. And Popstep actually shows up, and she makes Koichi's place her little hangout spot. Now Popstep actually has a home of her own, but she just likes to hang out with Koichi. Now on that note, I want to get into Koichi's relationships with Pop Step and Knuckleduster. So Koichi shares this mentor-mentee type relationship with Knuckleduster, and although he isn't an all-around fan of Knuckleduster's rough approach to crime and handling different perpetrators, he usually values him for his combat abilities and his ability to fight regardless of any odds he's stacked against, knowing the limitation of his abilities. And he's shown to have grown a lot from being a vigilante under Knuckleduster, and it's really helped him hone his skills, and he's learned a lot about his quirk, and a lot more than he really knew that he was able to actually do with his quirk. So as for his relationship with Pop Step, throughout the series we've seen that they've become really good friends, and Pop Step is really protective of Koichi when it comes to other women, and we've seen that she definitely has feelings for him. But Koichi is an oblivious idiot when it comes to that, and he does care about her though, and he really does go out of his way to protect Pop Step a lot more, knowing that they are really close, and he protects her more so as like a big brother type. And later on he actually leverages his relationship with Makoto, aka the sister of that one cop that knows about All Might's powers and his relationship with Izuku Midoriya, to help Pop Step get more publicity and allow her to actually apply her quirk, getting around the law and express herself in front of a crowd. And he acts as her manager while she performs. And this is my opinion, but I think that out of all three of the vigilantes, Koichi and Pop Step have the strongest relationship. Now Koichi actually has smaller relationships, and he's had smaller encounters with other characters in the My Hero universe, such as Eraserhead before he ends up teaching at UA. And a good story with that is Eraserhead was actually fighting a villain, and the villain ended up getting the upper hand on him. And Koichi, under the Crawler identity, ends up coming along, and he helps Eraserhead out by distracting the villain a little bit, and he was able to slow down the villain enough to where Eraserhead can regain himself and they can take on this villain together. And Eraserhead shows his gratitude for Koichi's acts by just not turning him in, because at the end of the day Koichi did use his quirk in public, and Koichi is not licensed to use his quirk. And another beneficial encounter that we see Koichi have is with Tensei Ida. And for those that follow My Hero Academia, we know Tensei Ida as Ingenium, and he's the older brother of Tenya Ida, who attends UA and is a really good friend of Izuku Midoriya. But anyways, back to Tensei. Koichi one day is actually using his quirk, and he flies past Tensei Ida going out for a morning jog. But Tensei Ida is a licensed hero, so technically if he wanted to, he could turn Koichi in because he witnessed him using his quirk in public. But he didn't do that, and he actually took interest in Koichi's use of his quirk, sliding on the ground like that. And he ends up teaching Koichi a more effective way to use his quirk. And he was so intrigued that he actually gave Koichi a card to his hero agency. But all in all, Koichi Haimawari is one of the kindest characters in the entire My Hero universe, and I really can't wait to see him actually master his abilities. And I admit this, I am a Koichi and Pop Step shipper, but I'm more interested in seeing how their hero chemistry actually grows, because we see later on in the series that when actually saving people, they can work together pretty well. And I'm actually thinking of doing a part 2 to this for Koichi's story, since there's so much more to it, and I'm going to be getting into that after I do a few other more characters before that, because I really did want to get into Knuckleduster's story. That's a really good one, and Pop Step story as well. But that's where I'm going to end it with Koichi's video, and as always, I want to thank everyone so much for watching this, and make sure you like and subscribe to this video. There's more great videos coming along the way for my One Punch Man and My Hero Academia series. I think next I'm going to be diving into Knuckleduster, because his story is very intriguing, because it goes well before the My Hero Vigilante series, all the way into events that we've seen occur in the My Hero main story. But with that said, this is the Anime Mug. I'm signing out. Again, be sure to like and subscribe. Peace.